I really appreciate you joining me today, and this is some news from London. It's about a gang of men that have been jailed after a fight that took place in the East London area where a 15-year-old was stabbed. Every single day we see stories in the paper of these sorts of incidents, but we don't often see the consequences.
This is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors are Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour.
And today 5 men have been jailed after the teenager was injured in a street that had 22 witnesses that rang the police. The judge Rosa Dean said the group acted like a pack of wolves and they attacked their victim. The gang task force investigated the violent incident and spent hours analysing CCTV of the vicinity in the lead up to the stabbing. It showed the suspects searching for their target and they had knowledge of the local area, and this meant that officers were able to identify them and those responsible within a day of the incident. On Wednesday the 16th of March, Kyle Taylor, 26 years old from Hackney, was found guilty of possession of an offensive weapon, GBH with intent, and violent disorder and jailed for 6 years and 4 months. Courtney Paul, 24 years old from Tottenham, pled guilty to possession of an offensive weapon and was found guilty of GBH of intent to cause violent disorder and was jailed for 8 years. Cameron Mead, 18 years old from Hackney, was jailed for GBH with intent and also violent disorder and was jailed for 3 years. William Guy, 18 from Hackney, also pled guilty to GBH with intent and possession of an offensive weapon and was jailed for 5 years and 6 months. Amario Kerr, 18 years old from Hackney, was jailed for GBH of intent and violent disorder and jailed for 6 years. Police were called to the Broadway in the E8 area at 11:30 on Thursday the 30th of July 2020 to reports of a group fighting with knives. The area was full of a lot of people that was out, going to bars and clubs in the local area, and it frightened so many people that they rang the police and believed it was a terror attack. 22 phone calls were made to the police. Officers arrived within minutes and found a 15-year-old with multiple stab wounds, and they gave him first aid, and a member of the public took him to hospital with serious injuries. The suspects fled on bike and an immediate search of the area began. They were nowhere to be seen, but officers found a large machete in walking distance and they began to identify those around them from the DNA and CCTV. A series of raids took place in August of 2020 and they arrested several suspects. The jury heard the victim travelled with a group of friends to the London Fields area, armed with a machete. They entered the park, but his friends ran off, and the victim ran down Broadway Market and was chased by the group. He was stabbed repeatedly, and bottles and chairs were thrown at him. The knife used to stab him was never found, and the victim has since recovered. In court, it was stated that some of the suspects Googled the stabbing on their phones to read about it in the news, and Paul had a photo of the victim saved in his phone, but told the court that he was unsure how he got the image. During the investigation, officers analysed William Guy's phone and showed a significant number of steps that had been used on an application around the stabbing area and no steps immediately afterwards when the police were looking for them. They also discovered two of them, William Guy and Cameron Mead, were in a Snapchat group called the Real A-Team, and inside that group they discussed the stabbing and how they were at risk of being charged due to CCTV evidence. Paul had 2 previous convictions for possession of a knife, and he told the court that he found the knife in a park and picked it up in self-defence. Guy also used the same defence and said that he just found the knife in the local area. And this is what I say again and again and again to people, is if the police aren't trying to gain access to an application because you're talking on it, it's because they already have access. The youngers think that Snapchat is some sort of way that the police can't track them, but Snapchat will give the police whatever they ask for. PC Cal Gregory from the gang task force said this was a long and meticulous investigation and we pieced together the evidence to build this case. The incident was frightening for so many people that was in the local area at the time and shows the severe impact that this can have on communities. The 15-year-old that was the victim was also charged with violent disorder and possession of an offensive weapon and was found guilty on the 16th of March last year. And he was referred to a Hackney youth panel and no details of the rest of his punishment have been revealed. So I thought that was a really interesting story to understand what happens after somebody gets charged. We always see these incidents in the paper and also at crime scenes, but it's not very often that you follow them up to the degree that you could really understand the consequences of the actions. So I really want to hear what people have to say on this story, and please don't forget to follow me online as well at Scarcity Studios, and I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Peace.